Thank you for the click. My name is Luxley, and on the day before tomorrow, for those of you that don't have your secret decoder rings, that means today, we're going to show you a little bit of Destruction Warlock PvP in Arathi Basin, the redone, remade Arathi Basin. Blizzard probably had a coupon to get it remade because usually they're pretty cheap about whatever they fix up in game. We're going to see a new remake of Deepwind Gorge somehow. I don't know if they're changing just the aesthetics or they're changing the overall objectives in that BG, but we'll find out. If anything, they could make that map a little bit smaller to engage or encourage the engagement of more PvP player versus player action. I'd like to see that. We'll see what happens in the next patch, but we know that they're going to be getting a makeover there. So this is a pretty even fight. Maybe we have a little bit of an edge here in Lumber Mill, and there's quite a few hunters, so I'm trying to get them out of the way. Shaman really has no fear as he presses deep into our area here, and he gets hit with Mortal Coil. Oh, Chaos Bolt, dead. Thanks for playing, bro. See, that's what happens when you overextend your healer by an entire continent. Oh my god. Boom, thanks for playing, Chaos Bolt. Lots of fun. Mercapalooza, you're next. Oh yeah, you fooled everybody with that. Well, he was probably just trying to get the dots off him, but yeah, it's another one who's overextended. See, that's what you gotta do. And I wish people would apply this type of philosophy into arena. I mean, there's not much that you could bring from a battleground to an arena that's useful and vice versa. But one of the things that is very, very useful that you can pull from a battleground is the idea of focusing the player who is overextended. You see this a lot in arena, whether it's a 2v2 or 3v3. Usually it's melee who steps up and overextends themselves. And I just wish people would capitalize that on that more. I wish they would recognize that opportunity more often than not, rather than just have a game plan and just try to stick to it. If you see somebody overextended in arena, it's a quick overmatch. You can pretty much, because he's out of range of his healer, and you can maintain that out of range with various types of CC, especially if you have a healer priest who can mind control the healer and one of their DPS is overextended. Boom, dead over, game over, folks. Game over. So looks like we're gonna take Lumber Mill. This usually doesn't go this way. Usually it's the other way, in the sense that I was able to, or I think it was me that silenced this mage, and he's still hanging on. But usually when you have a big convergence of DPS at Lumber Mill, the Alliance usually loses these kind of fights, and they lose them very, very poorly, very, very bad, like super bad. But in this case, not really the case. We're pretty lucky that we basically out DPS'd them. And it looks like we're gonna get Lumber Mill, and there's a few remnants kind of hanging out here, just sticking around after the fight. A couple Horde players, including this Paladin, this Serena. Yep, Mortal Coil, boom. Oh, he just used Lay on Hands, which means he doesn't have his bubble, which means he can't pop his bubble and jump off the cliff and not die. So things aren't going so well. He just absorbed an entire Chaos Bolt. That's always great fun to see. But sooner or later, it's thanks for playing. Thanks, bro. Moving on. Oh, here's a hunter named Lord with 2 O's and 2 different old English accents to secure the name Lord. I'm just so lucky that I was able to get these 2 accents and 2 O's in my name, Lord. I mean, if it's that important to you, dude, just spell it wrong, spell it different. I don't know. Nerfing. Yeah, we've seen a lot of nerfs on mages lately. Yeah. There used to be an old joke, especially with frost mages, although things have changed with regard to frost mages, where there was this old meme where you had all the classes represented with levers, where Blizzard would use the levers to nerf or buff the various classes, and you saw the frost mage lever that just had cobwebs on it, like it hasn't been touched in like 5 years, which is pretty much the case, or how things were up and until maybe Warlords of Drain all the fun. Possibly even up and until Legion. I'm not exactly sure when Blizzard decided to not give some love to Frost Mages. If you play a Frost Mage, matter of fact, I'd like to know what classes you guys play out there. I know what some of you play, but I really, really like to know what classes you play, whether or not you even play PvP, whether or not you're even subscribed to the game currently, because it's hard for me to know, and I'd like to know. I'd like to know when when I'm speaking to somebody, A, if they're subscribed, B, if they do PvP, and C, what class it is that you play. I know what some of you classes, some of what you guys play as far as classes go, but it'd be nice. I have a pretty good memory, or at least I did when I was younger, but maybe not so much now. But still, I have a lot of room to give up. I can still remember things pretty well, except I don't remember what I ate for breakfast yesterday. So we have a pretty good lead here, I think, and we're just trying to get mid. I don't know. I think the Horde might be void of some healers here. I can't really look at the stats and see that at the end. I wish I did. I always just kind of toggle the DPS stats because I'm selfish and I want to see what I did. But I'm curious. I don't think the Horde, because stuff is dropping. We're seeing tunes drop on the Horde side as far as their health is concerned. Yeah, okay, we saw the Paladin up at Lumber Mill with the lay on hands, and we saw a few others basically use some self heals in order to stick around. Now I'm in big trouble. I got the Warlock on me, I got this Arcane Mage on me, I got the Priest on me, I got the Monk. Oh, now the Paladin's joining in. Yeah, that's over. So I figured after I res, I head over here to try to defend. See, I've been focusing on the objectives quite a bit here lately, just simply because I'm undergeared. I am undergeared. I've been undergeared. I'm not going to go into the reasons why. You guys probably, oh, you're dead. Thanks for playing. I don't want to go into the reasons. There's various reasons, but the bottom line is, I'll give you the bottom line reason. I am just not excited about anything in BFA. I just absolutely hate this X-Pack. I think it is the worst X-Pack. Now, speaking subjectively, if I look at WoW objectively, and I take my feelings, and I take my disappointments out of the equation, yes, objectively speaking, Warlords of Drain All the Fun is the worst X-Pack ever. And I'd like to hear your thoughts about what the worst X-Pack is ever in World of Warcraft. What your favorite X-Pack was. Like, I was pretty harsh on Legion because I did not like the PvP in Legion. I thought it was an afterthought and it was very evident. Plus, the participation level was clearly lower, and it's thanks for playing, Mr. Warlock, but that was like a 3v1, and I was on the right side of it. He was on the wrong side of it. But I'd like to hear from you guys what your favorite X-Pack was. I did not give Legion enough love because I hated the PvP so much in Legion, mostly because of the lack of participation and the overall afterthought that Blizzard treated PvP with. And I really missed out on a lot of good content. Like, if I got myself more involved with Mythic Dungeons in Legion, I certainly would have enjoyed it more. If I got myself more involved with the legendaries and trying to target certain legendaries, I would have had more fun. And legendaries were kind of useless to me because you couldn't use them in PvP. So I really wasn't that motivated to go after them. Yeah, I mean, you got the item level bonus, but because the gear was overall normalized, it really didn't give you that much of an edge, so it really wasn't even worth the effort. And now it's completely changed. Now you have to PvE in order to be competitive in PvP. And considering I find things in BFA to be highly uninspired, I don't feel like PvEing, and that's the bottom line. So I wish I could give you better content. I wish I could perform better, but I'm doing the best I can with what I have. Now, it might be a little bit misleading because my health is a bit higher than it probably would be if I was any other class. That's because I'm getting a 10% buff from the Demon Armor PvP talent that I usually take, especially if I see the other team is stacked with melee. But, I mean, the bottom line is that's something that's pushing up my health, and so it's a little bit misleading. I might seem to be a little bit more geared than I actually am. But when I constantly look at players and what their health is, I mean, I even just guys on my team, they're 30, 40, 50K higher. Sometimes I'm even facing up against people that are 100K higher, like on when I play some of my lesser geared tunes even. Lesser geared than my Warlock. I mean, right now my Warlock is not even 525 eye level. I mean, in this particular BG, I don't even think I was 520 high level. And I'm facing up against people that are easily, what am I saying, 425. but I'm facing up against players that are around 435, 440, and that makes a difference. I don't care what anybody says. I know some people tried to debunk the whole thing about how the gear works and when you're fighting somebody 1v1 and how you're hitting for percentages and things are adjusted. No, absolutely not. It doesn't make a significant enough difference where if you are totally gimped with no armor whatsoever, in other words, you're going in there in greens and blues and you're a solid 50 or 150 or 50 plus eye levels lower, you're not making a difference. And that's one thing that I really do not like about PvP currently, and that is if you are not geared, you are not contributing. You're just not. You're totally useless in arena, and you're almost equally useless in PvP in just regular battlegrounds. That's kind of frustrating. That's kind of annoying because Blizzard has done a very good job from two things they did very well in BFA and in Legion. In BFA, they had gear that scaled as far as PvP stats were concerned, as far as the eye level was concerned. It was a bit of a clunky type of mechanism for PvP gear, but I think it's the gear that worked best. It's the whole mechanism in PvP there, the gearing process that worked best. And in Legion, normalized gear, love it, hate it, I don't know, kind of a hung jury on that. But now, at least in Legion, at least in BFA, if you were under-geared, you could contribute to some extent. Now, you can't. You can't anymore, and that's a step backwards, and I think that's a step backwards that leads people to be intimidated and fully participatory in PvP. Although the numbers are a little bit better than they were in Legion, so we got a little bit of a dead cat bounce, and we're trending upwards. But I'm really curious what they're going to do with regard to PvP for the next X-Pack. Really, really curious. Let me know your thoughts. Maybe I'm way off base. I don't know, but obviously, I would really put a lot of currency in your opinion if you had played with both in BFA PvP, and of course played solo, because there's a big difference if you're playing with a group. But if you played with both, if you played geared and then you played ungeared, I'd love to hear from you because we could have a little bit of a discussion and debate. I haven't played fully geared, but I have played undergeared, and I don't feel like I can contribute as much as I usually do. My name is Luxley. Thank you for watching, and I'll leave you with the final thought that I always do. Wherever it is by you, whether it's morning or it's afternoon or it's night, make it epic.